Let's jump right in. Today, we're unpacking the profound philosophy and incredible legacy of A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. We'll be looking directly at his legendary autobiography, Wings of Fire, alongside his famous address to the students of Kodungalar.
So, here's a question for you. How does a young boy selling newspapers end up becoming the president of the world's largest democracy? It's wild, right? We're going to explore that monumental contrast between his incredibly humble beginnings and the absolute heights of global success he eventually reached.
To do this, we'll be following Kalam's own thematic framework for his life. We've got 1. Orientation, covering his humble beginnings. 2. Creation, forging a scientist. 3. Propitiation, the missile man. 4. Contemplation, his vision for India. And finally, number 5, a mission for the youth. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Orientation, the humble beginnings. Now, Kalam's family wasn't actually always poor. They were once pretty wealthy ferry traders. But check this out. After the Pumban Bridge opened to the mainland back in 1914, their traditional business basically collapsed. By the 1920s, they had lost their properties, and by the 1930s, the family had fallen into such severe poverty that young Kalam literally had to sell newspapers just to help them survive.
But despite all that financial hardship, his home was incredibly secure. He grew up right between a Hindu temple and a mosque, absorbing this really beautiful, harmonious culture. And as he later wrote, he was convinced by his father's teachings that there exists a divine power that can lift one up. That core belief right there, it gave him unshakable resilience.
Fast forward a bit, and Kalam has this burning dream to become a fighter pilot. But look at these numbers. The Indian Air Force only had 8 available slots. Kalam's qualifier rank? Number 9. He missed his ultimate dream by a single spot. He was utterly dejected, but a mentor told him to accept his destiny, and that brutal setback forced a massive pivot toward engineering.
Even then, things weren't easy. When he earned a spot at the Madras Institute of Technology, he couldn't afford the 1,000 rupee fee. It was completely out of reach. So his elder sister Zohara stepped in and actually mortgaged her own gold bangles to fund his education. Kalam was so deeply moved by this sacrifice that he made a solemn vow to release those bangles from mortgage using his own earnings.
That brings us to Section 2, Creation, forging a scientist. During this phase from 1963 to 1980, his professional rise was absolutely meteoric. He transfers to ISRO in 1969, soaks up knowledge from brilliant mentors like Vikram Sarabhai, and even visits NASA's Langley Research Center. He ultimately serves as project director for the SLV-3, successfully deploying the Rohini satellite in July of 1980. India was officially in the space game.
Now, you might expect a literal rocket scientist to have some insane, hyper-complex productivity system, right? But Kalam's daily strategy was remarkably simple. Go for a morning walk. Prepare a general schedule for the day, identify just 2 or 3 specific things to accomplish, and ensure at least one task helps achieve a long-term goal. That's it. He just completely mastered the fundamentals of focus.
Moving right along to Section 3, Propitiation, the missile man.
So, he returns to DRDO to lead their rocketry program. But what made him so successful wasn't just his technical genius. It was his secret sauce as a leader, a style he called participative management. Essentially, it's about bringing the best out of every single person by actively encouraging and relaying constructive ideas from subordinates. He built up people just as much as he built up technology.
And the results of that leadership style were historic. Under his guidance, the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program birthed a whole suite of defense tech. We're talking Prithvi, Trishul, Akash, Nag, and Agni. Delivering this incredible level of self-reliance completely changed the game for India's defense capabilities.
Of course, it wasn't always smooth sailing. The Agni missile tests actually failed twice before they finally succeeded. During that really painful period, the famous cartoonist Laxman published a sketch with the quote, "Nothing to be discouraged. We have postponed it again because we want to be absolutely certain." Kalam actually cherished this because he fundamentally believed failures aren't dead ends. They're just the seeds of further learning.
Which leads us to Section 4, Contemplation, vision for India.
What's so amazing about Kalam during this period of immense national fame is his absolute personal simplicity. Despite receiving India's highest civilian awards, he continued to live in a humble 10 by 12-foot room, furnished mainly with books. He really possessed almost nothing material. He just viewed himself as a well from which the youth could draw inspiration.
But his influence on the nation's trajectory? Massive. In 1992, he's appointed scientific advisor to the defense minister. By 1998, he plays a pivotal role in the historic Pokhran II nuclear tests. He also charted out Vision 2020 to steer the country toward technological self-sufficiency. Interestingly, he maintained that a lack of clear vision is the biggest problem facing the youth. Not a lack of talent, but a lack of unifying direction.
The entire world took notice of his work. Over his career, Dr. Kalam received over 30 honorary degrees from universities across the planet. More than 30! It's a sheer testament to the immense global respect he commanded.
And finally, Section 5, A Mission for the Youth. During a famous address to the students of Kodung Galore, he shared this brilliant analogy. According to the rigid laws of aerodynamics, a bumblebee should never be able to fly. But, ignorant of scientific theory, it goes ahead and flies anyway. He used this to remind students that human flight, and really any monumental personal success, requires striving to subjugate the impossible. Basically, don't let people tell you what you can't do.
To prove that the impossible is totally attainable, he pointed to a real-world scientific marvel. 431 million kilometers. That is the mind-boggling distance the NASA Deep Impact spacecraft traveled to smash into a comet. And the kicker? It was navigated by an Indian scientist, Shyam Bhaskaran. Kalam used this to show the youth that they are capable of achieving literally astronomical feats.
But for Kalam, achievement without character was completely empty. He used to recite this beautiful hymn with students. Where there is righteousness in the heart, there is a beauty in the character. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. And it extends to order in the nation and peace in the world. He drew a direct, unbreakable connection between personal moral character and global peace.
To make that philosophy actionable, he administered a 10-point oath to students, focused heavily on grassroots nation building. Things like teach at least 10 people to read and write, plant 10 saplings, wean 5 people away from addiction, endeavor to make a corruption-free society, and be a friend to the mentally and physically challenged. He believed nations are built through our daily acts of service.
Dr. Kalam firmly believed that every single person has a divine, latent fire resting inside them, just waiting to be unleashed. He dedicated his entire life to fanning that flame. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, powerful question to consider for your own life. Will you choose to ignite the latent fire within your own heart and let your wings of fire light up the world? Thanks for joining me today.